The stars stretched endlessly across the void, glowing like sparks in an infinite furnace. The galaxy was in turmoil once again, but turmoil was nothing new to the one called Kal-El of Krypton, Superman. He had always stood as a sentinel against chaos, a force of order against the relentless entropy of the universe. Yet in the shadow of eternity, even the Man of Steel knew that some battles were not about saving worlds or protecting innocence. They were about the very definition of what it meant to exist. It was in this vein that the alien known only as Lobo, the last Czarnian, came to Metropolis with his unholy grin, his chain dragging behind him like the rattling of death. His bounty was simple: Superman. Not because someone had paid him in gold, but because Lobo considered it the only thrill left in existence worth chasing, the chance to beat down the paragon of virtue, to shatter the ideal that order and restraint could dominate chaos and indulgence. Clark met him in orbit, the blue globe of Earth spinning beneath their feet like a fragile jewel. Superman floated in silence, arms folded across his chest, his cape drifting in the cold current of the void. Lobo smirked, lighting a cigar that burned even in the absence of oxygen, his red eyes glowing with that particular brand of gleeful savagery. They exchanged no punches at first, instead words, because words cut deeper than blows. "You really think you're better than me, Soups?" Lobo drawled, exhaling smoke that seemed to carry the stench of damnation itself. Big Boy Scout, savior of worlds, symbol of hope and all that cosmic crap. But when all's said and done, you break, you bleed, and you die. Me, I don't. Not ever. Superman's gaze didn't waver. "You call it strength. I call it emptiness. You can't die because you can't live." Every being that walks these stars, from the smallest child on Earth to the greatest cosmic titan, knows the value of life because of death. It gives meaning to every choice, every sacrifice, every moment of love. You're stuck in an endless carnival of violence, where nothing matters. Lobo's grin widened, flashing teeth like a predator. "And that's why I win, Blue. You cling to meaning, I don't. You're bound by rules, morals, and all that sentimental baggage. I'm free. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, and the universe can choke on it. You call it chaos. I call it freedom." The Man of Steel's eyes glowed red with heat, vision he did not unleash. "Freedom without responsibility is destruction. You are the proof of it. You left your entire race in ashes just for a joke, Lobo. I fight because I carry the weight of two worlds, Krypton and Earth. That weight is what gives me purpose. That is why I endure." Lobo laughed, a sound like shattering glass. "Purpose is just a leash, Soup. You think you're free, but you ain't. You're chained to an idea. Me? I'm the last Czarnian because I made myself the last Czarnian. I'm my own law, my own purpose, my own eternity. When everything else crumbles, I'll still be here, lighting another cigar and kicking the universe in the teeth." Their words were not just boasts. They were philosophies crashing together. Superman was the manifestation of order, responsibility, and the eternal striving toward justice. Lobo was chaos incarnate, a being for whom death was a door he'd kicked off its hinges long ago. The clash was not about who could punch harder, though both had shattered planets with their fists. It was about whether meaning itself could outlast chaos, or whether chaos would forever mock meaning by existing beyond it. Superman knew Lobo's healing factor, his immortality, the cosmic irony of a being so destructive being utterly unkillable. But he also knew that victory was not always death. Sometimes it was restraint, containment, and enduring when chaos tried to consume you. Yet as they stared each other down, Kal-El realized this battle might not be one he could win. Not because he lacked strength, but because Lobo's very nature defied resolution. The void between them grew heavier, and for a moment both seemed carved into the fabric of existence as eternal opposites. Superman, a symbol who could inspire civilizations to rise beyond their limit. Lobo, a symbol of the futility of permanence, the endless cycle of violence and indulgence that mocked the fragility of all meaning. The stage was set not for a fight alone, but for a trial of ideas. And when fists finally flew, they would shake not just planets but the very ideals by which existence was measured. For in the end, how do you defeat one who cannot be destroyed, who does not care for victory or defeat, who embodies chaos itself? The only answer was written in the stars: you endure, or you are consumed. But Kal-El, son of Krypton, would soon discover that even endurance has limits when faced with the one they call Lobo. The silence of space shattered as Lobo hurled his chain like a comet, the hook whistling through the void and slamming into Superman's chest with enough force to send him reeling across orbit. Clark caught himself, his cape snapping like fire as he countered, blitzing forward faster than Lobo's eyes could track. His fists struck like thunder, blows that could crack mountains, landing one after the other. The Czarnian only laughed as his face caved and reformed, bones snapping back into place as fast as they broke. Faster than last time, Supes, Lobo growled, spitting out a broken tooth that regenerated before it left his mouth. But you're gonna have to do better than that. The main man don't stay down. Superman pressed harder, driving Lobo through the atmosphere of Jupiter, the gas giant igniting in storms from their passage. He pinned Lobo to the crushing gravity, unleashing heat vision hot enough to carve the core of a star. Lobo's skin charred, muscles crisped, and still he grinned, eyes glowing through the inferno. With a roar, he shoved Superman back, his body knitting together in grotesque defiance of destruction. You can burn me, freeze me, smash me through suns, Lobo bellowed, hurling his chain to wrap around Superman's throat, dragging him through Jupiter's storm layers. But I'll always get back up. You can't outlast me. You can't outfight me. You can't kill me. Clark ripped the chain apart and rocketed upward, dragging Lobo with him, smashing through the gas giant and into open space. He hurled Lobo toward Io, the moon shattering in a cataclysm of debris upon impact. But from the dust rose Lobo, laughing, his bike roaring out of nowhere to slam into Superman's back and detonate with a blast, strong enough to scar the moon further. Clark staggered but endured. Eyes blazed, the two collided again, fists exchanging blows that rippled across the solar system, gravitational waves bending the very stars. Superman's speed advantage allowed him to land hundreds of strikes in the time Lobo threw one, but Lobo's one strike carried chaos, unpredictability, and a savagery that refused to be measured. Each time Superman thought he'd finally overwhelmed him, Lobo's body reassembled, his laughter echoing louder than the destruction they caused. Hours passed, or perhaps days, in the timeless vacuum of their struggle. Superman began to tire, not physically, for his body still burned with the power of a yellow sun, but spiritually. Every punch he threw seemed pointless, every attempt at restraint meaningless. Lobo was right. He could not be killed. He could not be stopped. He could not be reasoned with. Finally, as they stood amidst the ruins of shattered moons and burning storms, Superman panted, his eyes dimming from exhaustion. Lobo sauntered forward, chain dragging lazily behind him. You get it now, don't you, Blue? You fight for meaning, for purpose, for justice. But me, I fight for the hell of it. And when the dust settles, I'm still here, cigar lit, laughing in your face. Superman didn't respond. He couldn't. His fists still clenched, but his spirit knew the truth. Lobo could not be defeated, not in any way that mattered. Victory required finality, and there was no finality against the main man. With one last brutal swing, Lobo sent Superman crashing into the void, his body floating amidst the stars. Not dead, not broken, but defeated, not by power, but by futility. Lobo lit another cigar, his laughter booming across the cosmos. Chaos had won, not because it was stronger, but because it could not end. Superman's meaning was bound to limits, to the fragility of life and purpose. Lobo's chaos was eternal, unbound by death or destiny. And so, in this clash of philosophies made flesh, the last Czarnian stood victorious. The universe carried on indifferent, but somewhere, in the vast silence, a lesson lingered. Sometimes the greatest strength is not hope or justice, but the cruel freedom of being unchained. And that was why Lobo, eternal and unkillable, stood as the winner of the battle against Superman.